Welcome to the Bold Dreams Held Loosely podcast. My name is Taryn Watts, and in this episode, Michelle and I are joined by our guest, Morgan Crew. Morgan is a registered nurse, a registered psychotherapist, a Mind Rebel practitioner, and a devoted mental health educator. With a wealth of experience in mental health care, Morgan has developed the Prevail Prove Your Power program, offering transformative concepts honed through years of clinical practice. In this episode, we're diving into two of her concepts that she teaches in that program called True Essence and Private Logic. Essentially, we all split away from our true essence, as Morgan teaches us in this episode, at about the age of 3 or 4 years old. And as kids grow and develop naturally, they begin to learn things about themselves from the feedback, criticism, praise of others. And this shifts ourselves away from our true essence traits. And that's when we see things like anxiety and depression symptoms and other general feelings of inadequacy and not enoughness. As humans, we spend the rest of our lives searching for worthiness, which can be found by connecting with this true essence. We hope that you enjoy this episode. Okay, so we're gonna dive in and talk about this body of work that you are working on and doing with your clients, and we're super excited to learn from you and to talk more about this. So, Morgan, do you want to just start by talking about what inspired this work, where it came from, and kind of lay the foundation, and then we're going to dive into a couple of these concepts.
Okay. No, I'm happy to.
Okay.
So in my first work as a nurse, I ended up getting to mental health and ended up, really learning a lot about the medical model. And that was kind of what I was, doing at the work at the hospital that I was working at in the community. And I found out really quick that not very many people were getting better, and not very many of the services in the public setting was actually showing a lot of impact. And I was having a hard time applying it to myself and so on. So I was kind of struggling as the mental health nurse, and then started the wheels going as, I want to help people longer term, not just do Band-Aids. So ended up going into some schooling to do psychotherapy. But in the meantime, I ended up having PTSD from work. And I was the last one to understand what was actually happening to me. And I was thinking I had to sort of hide it and push down all these symptoms. And then when it was reflected to me that it would make sense of what you've been through at work, these could be PTSD symptoms, I was devastated and thinking, well, if I have this, who's going to help me? Because I worked in the industry. But as it goes, when needed, the right person appears, and I ended up getting into therapy with somebody that really changed my life, and in a psychology that really changed my life, which is the Adlerian style of psychology. And I went into it with a negative way, thinking, oh, that I'm gonna know this isn't gonna work. But it was completely different than the medical model that I'd been coming from. And so as a result of that, like, deep dive, and that's when I first met you. And because I was looking for whatever I could find to help me and couldn't get it from medicine and traditional stuff. And so I dove into the kind of the Mind Rebel practitioner, and also this Adlerian psychology. And within 6 months, it was, the symptoms were gone. I was making so much more sense out of what had happened and learning so much more about myself. So as a result of that experience, I ended up deciding to stop doing mental health nursing work in the community and start my own private practice. And so I studied with different Adlerian psychologists, and also have my own Adlerian therapist. And through all the different avenues it's led me to, I saw themes and concepts that were extremely common in my own practice. And I was constantly giving handouts, the same handouts, and I was writing the same handouts. And I thought to myself, okay, why am I not just putting this into a bit of a framework? And why wouldn't I want to give that to people ahead of time before they have they find themselves wanting to get into therapy? So in doing so, it just clicked and made sense, this process. Um, so this concept that we're going to talk about today, true essence rediscovery, is could be called a lot of different names. Some people would call it inner child work. I call it true essence rediscovery because I don't want it to sound like work, it's a lot. We can see our true essence more than we can maybe see our inner child. So this concept comes midway through the program because it's the turnaround point. First we talk about what is wrong, what symptoms you're feeling, how to settle your nervous system. Like, that's fundamental and foundational. Then we get into boundaries. And then we get into our private logic. So that's a real Adlerian concept about my logic is making perfect sense to me. Yours makes perfect sense to you. Yours makes perfect sense to you. But no one has your same logic. So private logic is huge to understand why we're responding to things present day. It comes from our past. And as a result of that, we need to know who our true self is and that true essence of us that was dropped into this world as a newborn. And then at 3 is when we sort of emerge knowing we matter in the world, that we can make people listen to us. And so that is our 3-year-old. 3-year-old is our true essence self. So that's a topic that is extremely important, but a bit odd too for people to believe.
Yeah. Before we dive into this, could you characterize, in just a broad stroke, what's the main difference between Adlerian psychology, like the background you come from, and maybe a more typical medical model psychology?
Yeah, sure. So everybody's doing cognitive behavior therapy, CBT, and it has a ton of trials and randomized controlled trials, peer reviewed, double blind, all the things. But I've not seen it be helpful. And I know it's kind of bold to say that, but some of those studies screened out the average person. So those studies, the sample that they would use in those studies would be people that had a pure, they didn't drink alcohol, and they didn't have divorced parents, and they didn't have a history of abuse, or they never were exposed to domestic violence. Well, many of us have had a history of that. So I guess if you take someone that has depression symptoms or anxiety symptoms, but no other real life background, that maybe cognitive behavior therapy would be effective. So that's what I was trying to help people with. And you break it down, cognitive behavior therapy. So it's like your understanding about your behavior, and we should just change it. It's like
not that easy.
It's like if you sort of it's like some of the CBT stuff is like, challenging negative thoughts. It's like, okay, well, if it was that easy, I just challenge them all the time and it'd be done. But anyway, so that's got the research behind it. It says it's effective and quick, and it goes along with medication quite well. So that's why that's recommended by our medical system. Adlerian psychology wants to help you find out why you're sensitive to things present day, not just say it should be different. And it wants to help you find out what happened in your life to cause you to have beliefs about the world, and therefore accidentally attract in things that match what you're used to and isn't what you desire, and really sort out, really give you the gift of seeing that your worldview is your worldview, and it's not the worldview. It comes from the developmental years, and it's going to be completely different than other people, and that's totally normal for children. They develop. They're not little adults. They're children. So as adults, we get to now go back and test out that private logic that made sense to a 5-year-old, but doesn't make sense to a 46-year-old. And so it seems like a slog. A lot of people want it to be a quick fix, but we have to go back in Adlerian, and we have to see the soup you swam in, and the environment you were raised in, and the experiences that you had, to find out where we started to believe certain things about ourselves that aren't actually true. It's such a paradigm shift that it's a bit of a slog in the beginning. So I always tell people, like, it's going to take 6 to 8 sessions for us to like settle and know, and for me to conceptualize like where you're coming from. But this is the hard part. The next part is fun, and the next part is magical. Yeah. So I hope that explains the difference.
Yes, thank you.
Well, and just there's 2 types of therapy. CBT is one type, and psychodynamic is the other type. And Adlerian is a subcategory of psychodynamic.
Okay.
Yeah.
What are some other examples of psychodynamic, just out of curiosity?
Well, now there's a lot of different ones. The internal family systems, you've heard people, and compassionate inquiry is Gabor Mate's style that he works in. It's all about childhood and having a lot of compassion. Psychoanalysis, like Freud, and Jung, and all of those sort of founding fathers would be
cool.
psychodynamic. So yeah, it's not CBT.
All right. So the true essence rediscovery comes after a client that you're working with has done the deep dive, has done the private logic work.
First, we settle the nervous system, because most people are coming in fight and flight. And when they're coming in fight and flight, they might have been in fight and flight for a few decades. So they're not, they're trying to figure it out. Tell me what I need to do. Right. And it's like that we're not going to be able to access the truth until we settle the nervous system. And so that's the biggest job. People trusting that meditation is, going to work after 6 weeks of trying every day, just like going to the gym. After 6 weeks, you'll see a difference, but you won't see it in the first little bit. So first we settle, which is really challenging. Then we do boundaries in the Mind Rebel concept, because it's so clear of how to set boundaries. And then from there, we dive into what is bothering you today. And so we don't ice over today's stuff, but we to say, what is the conflict or upset you've had in the last week that's come to you? And we use that conflict to go back, do a float back technique, to go back to the first time you felt that emotion. And we find out what you learned about yourself in that moment. And I hope this isn't getting lost in as I'm saying, but what did your 5-year-old self learn when they first were scared, or they first were disappointed, or they first were feeling locked out of the house? And then we see that her reaction is the same reaction we feel right now when we feel locked out of the house, or sad, or whatever it is. Anything we feel now is a match to the blueprint of the first time we had that emotion. So we do that. And so people are saying, okay, well, I had a big fight with my kids this week. It's like, okay, so what is the emotion that you felt? Well, everybody has a hard time. So I give them an emotions list, and they go through it and sort of figure out what, helpless, powerless, okay, so we find whatever that is. And I say, when was the first time you felt powerless? And they say, I don't remember, and all that. Okay, what do you take a guess? Like, was it when you were, for me, I want a pivotal memory of childhood memory that I had is not getting into French immersion, not getting accepted into French immersion in grade 4, and all the friends got accepted into it. So that really gave little Morgan a private logic of, you are inadequate. In fact, you're a failure because you didn't get in. So that makes perfect sense to 10-year-old Morgan. And it makes perfect sense to 46-year-old Morgan, looking back, that a 10-year-old would believe that about themselves. But is it true? So we get a bunch of memories, and we find out where these emotions were first learned, and because kids are kids, not little adults, kids make conclusions about a circumstance about themselves because they're egocentric. And they are. That's just the way it is. So even though adults over here are saying, oh, the kids are fine, they're not, knowing anything's wrong, and so on and so forth, the kids are making the conclusion of what's happening to be about themselves. Hard for adults to really realize that, but that's why I have to teach this and tell this so much. It just is. So when we we take what's upsetting us present day and go back, and we ask yourself to put yourself back in that circumstance. The day I got the mail that said you didn't get in, hold that, wrap yourself up in that feeling that she felt, and now fill in these blanks. And so this what I'm going to tell you is also an Adlerian framework. So you say, I am, fill in the blank. For me, it was inadequate.
Yeah.
Other people are smarter than me.
Mm-hmm.
This world is unfair.
Mm-hmm.
Therefore, I will. And in my case, it was, therefore, I will comply, but I'm going to find another solution. Because I just look back, what did I do? So in my case, I didn't get into the school, and everybody was going off to the school. So I got my mom to let me go to the English school, the English part of that in school. So it looked like I was going to version. I just turned right and went into the other classroom. But that's like such an awesome metaphor for me. Because when people close the doors, I go to the next one. But I learned those strengths through the process of looking back at what little Morgan did. So I have the inadequacy, belief, but it's not going to stop me. I'll figure it out. But other people would say, I'm going to stuff that down, and so on. So it's so different. So, I mean, if you want to do a little example of that before we do true essence.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. So pick a conflict / upset that happened this week. Doesn't have to be big. Any conflict is equally disturbing to our peace of mind. So don't fret that it's not big. We want to clear it all.
Yeah.
So big or small, conflict or upset, let me know what comes to you. And I'll take a few notes. It can be like, to me this morning when somebody pulled out in front of me, and I was just like, oh my goodness.
Mm-hmm.
And, I was just like, was I going too fast? Like, instead of just being, laying on the horn, I was just like, I must have done something wrong. So my heart rate was going, and I was like stressed, and I was, a little fretful. So then I would get clear on my emotion. I'll get the emotions list ready. But you girls are going to think of something.
Okay, I thought of something. Oh my God, I'm embarrassed to share.
Okay, well,
but okay.
Yeah, let's hear it.
Do you share now?
Yeah.
Yeah, just give me give me the example of the conflict or upset that happened.
Okay. Oh my gosh, I can't believe I'm going to say this. It's not I don't know if it's a real conflict, but it is something. I feel something about it, but whatever, there's enough I don't know, I guess rationale in adult brain that's well, this is silly, but I feel something.
It doesn't matter. That's your private logic is telling you this is bothering me.
Oh my gosh. Okay. I can't believe I'm going to say this. Okay. So I have a lot of internal conflict with our dog who's on the screen porch right now. And there's lots of little things, but nothing really this week. But the one thing this week, I think it happened yesterday, is when my partner gives the dog attention, I get jealous. I'm like, don't touch the dog, pet me.
Okay.
And I say, don't give the dog attention, give me attention.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so then is he just like, okay, get over here, and gives you a big hug?
He laughs and he's like,
okay.
Okay. And yes, and then he does. He goes, okay, yeah.
Okay, no, this is perfect. This is perfect. So look at this list here, and this is going to be a struggle.
So this is
look at the emotions
Morgan's
list.
showing Michelle a list of emotions right now, so she can properly name.
Okay, so should I read this, or just read it internally?
Well, no, I would spit out which ones apply. I'm going to make a list, and we're going to get clearer.
As you're reading it, just tell her the
the
emotions that this conjures up for you.
Okay. Maybe alone.
Okay, no, that's fine. It's whatever is matching your heart.
Crazy. Yeah, crazy.
That's on there. Wow. Okay.
Yeah. Well, I'm embarrassed right now. I don't know if that's there. I'm not quite heartbroken. No. Yeah, maybe the lonely again. I know it's another way to say alone. Insecure. Silly, self-conscious. But I'm not sure if that's about the original thing or like my
Doesn't
reaction
matter.
to, but I'm just, gut feeling. Resentment? Yeah,
Okay.
resentment. Yeah.
So look at the list of your emotions and get clear on what they actually are. So out of alone, crazy, and embarrassed, you said crazy was the most accurate. Out of lonely, insecure, and silly, what's the most accurate in that? In those three?
Oh. I don't know. Maybe it's like I'm torn between insecure and
Okay,
lonely.
we'll keep them both.
Okay.
And then what about self-conscious and resentment? How accurate?
Probably more resentment.
Okay.
Yeah, it's
So
almost like the silly, self-conscious, embarrassed are more like the surface level
judgments
Yeah.
of
Of
having
even
this real
feeling,
trigger.
of
Yes.
even feeling this way.
Yeah, I think that's exactly.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
Yeah.
yes, because we weren't talking about it. You wouldn't even,
Yeah.
you would be embarrassed.
That's right.
Yeah.
Okay, so crazy, lonely, insecure, resentment.
Yeah.
Can we cross any of those off? It's okay, we can keep them all, but I just want to know.
So insecure might not be true. Insecure is one that like I've used the phrase insecure a lot in my life, and so I identify with that word, but I don't know if that's the actual feeling.
Okay, that's fine. Let's just go with crazy, lonely, and resentment.
Yeah.
Okay, crazy, lonely, and resentment. Conjure it up in
Okay.
your body right
Yeah,
now.
I can feel
Feeling
it.
crazy, feeling alone, just feeling like
It's there.
total resentment and all of that. Now, float back.
Yeah.
Because this isn't the first time you felt this. You felt this many times in the past, but we want to access the first time you felt this combination of emotions, okay? Before 10 years old. When do you recall feeling crazy, lonely, and resentment? Or a sniff of that. And just see if a memory comes up. It doesn't have to be a big pivotal memory. It could
Yeah.
be a very fleeting memory.
Tell me if this counts. So this
Example,
isn't a memory, but it's a story, not a story. My mom said when my brother was born, when I was about 2, I was so upset that she like of her, having this new baby, that I like rejected her, and I went through this phase of like only wanting my dad. And she was like, "You were so upset."
Okay, so you were 2
Yeah.
when your brother was born. And
Yeah.
so were you the first child?
Yes.
Okay. So notoriously in Adlerian psychology and everywhere, because I think Adlerian psychology is everywhere, the firstborn has a really big, huge betrayal happen when the next baby's born, and we call it dethroning. You're dethroned.
Yeah.
And whether or not you remember it or you don't remember it, it will happen because you were the full object of the room, and then there was a new baby.
Yeah.
And so the you can never regain that special place. Like that's how it feels to you.
Yeah.
And so this dethroning is like a really pivotal part in most and you're oldest child too. So, and I'm the youngest. So it's just birth order is really important.
Right.
So let's use this example because this is a perfect example. And even though you don't have a specific memory of it, you can guess what your little self was probably thinking back then, right? Because when people say, I don't know, I don't have the actual memory, but a guess of what you imagine is good enough.
Yeah.
So conjure your little 2-year-old self up.
Yeah.
And you're just like, potty trained and mastering skills and all that. And then new baby, everybody's looking at the new baby. And just put yourself in that 2-year-old body, observing the room, seeing what's happened, and just fill in these blanks on the basis of you in that memory.
Okay.
And just without a lot of thought into it, I am.
Needy.
Other people are.
Reasonable.
This world is.
Ooh, hard for me.
Therefore, I will.
Oh, try to suppress my wants and needs.
Okay. So because a child is egocentric and they make it to mean something about them, the I am needy is more of a assessment of like, looking back, is a 2-year-old needy for wanting their mom?
No.
No.
Right.
So let's just go back to, and I don't want to put words in your mouth, but I want to know what the conclusion your little 2-year-old self made about herself in that moment. Oh, on the basis of new brother coming home and everybody's cuddling him, I guess this must mean that I am.
I know a 2-year-old wouldn't use these words, but like not a priority, like not the priority.
Perfect. That's
Yeah.
fine. So that's more accessing the private logic of Michelle
Okay.
of 2 years old.
Yeah.
So this is perfect. I'm not a priority, therefore I will suppress. So we care a lot about the I am and the therefore I will. I am not a priority, therefore I will suppress. Suppress is like, you could use a lot of different words. Stuff down, suffer,
Yeah.
like without talking about the need. And the stories that our parents the ways parents will describe how we were as little kids is their viewpoint of the scenario, right? And their life was stuff was happening, and all your mom was trying to do was have a new baby. It didn't mean anything about you,
Right.
but little you said, this means that I am not a priority, and therefore I will suppress/suffer.
Yeah.
So that's blueprint. So blueprint got created in your 2-year-old brain.
It sounds very accurate, by the way, just by the way you're framing this. And I'm not just applying it to like the dog situation. I think of my life.
It's all just a recycle of a few beliefs.
It's very accurate.
And the more you do the work, you only have 3. So mine are, I am alone, I am inadequate, and I'm a failure. Those are my 3.
3 what? 3 core beliefs?
3 core errors.
Mm.
And the errors are sneaky. I didn't know. I believe I'm alone and a failure and inadequate. These are 3 themes of triggers. So I know, so it wouldn't bother me if things that would bother you wouldn't necessarily bother me, and vice versa. And a lot of people can't understand, why did Morgan like react so much to that one thing? Well, that's because of these 3 triggers. If it goes in the category, I'm going to be triggered by it. But I don't have a category of I am, not athletic enough. So I'm not necessarily triggered by that. But I know that if something comes close to those 3, I'm gonna need to take ownership of that and figure it out. So what happens is
fascinating.
Yeah. So what happens is when you get anything close to the feelings of crazy, lonely, and resentment, the blueprint's already created. You present day adult Michelle goes right back to, I am not a priority. I need to suppress and suffer.
Yeah.
It's just automatic.
Right.
It has nothing to do with your partner and your dog.
Yeah.
It has to do with a blueprint that is your neural pathway.
Yeah.
And it makes sense to a 2-year-old, but does it make sense to you now? No. It does, because it's your private logic, but that's why we're going to do true essence. Okay, so you content with that pathway? Okay, Taryn, let's do one for you.
Oh, gosh.
You feel like you can't.
Okay. Let me think of an appropriate one. Okay.
Come on. Just make it real.
Okay, let me think about okay. I've got one.
Sure.
So the trigger was it wasn't a situation about me. It was a situation about my daughter.
Mm-hmm.
And she was feeling left out.
Okay.
Of a group of friends. She was feeling left out in a group of friends.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so
then what happened with you? What did you do?
So what happened with me? I became hyper aware of her sadness in the group setting.
Mm-hmm.
I felt all sorts of emotions inside. I felt like I was hyper aware of it. I could see that she was being excluded in certain ways, and I was feeling sad inside.
Okay. And so what did you do? Did you talk to her? Did you just suffer in silence?
In the moment, I just watched because I didn't want to be that mom that went over to the group and did something about it. I just wanted to observe. And I was also very, very aware in that moment that I was feeling some stuff that was mine.
Okay.
And I really didn't want to project onto her.
Okay. Awesome. Grab the list.
Okay.
And let's
dig in. Let's dig into this one. Okay.
I'll make the short list of the emotions. We want to get to the most accurate emotion.
Okay. I was feeling angry.
Okay.
I was feeling strangely betrayed.
Yeah, don't worry. That's like the usually most common one I hear.
Okay. I was feeling disappointed.
Mhm.
I was feeling outraged.
As any
Mama bear. There's rage there too. Those probably go together. I was feeling self-conscious. Worried.
Okay, good, perfect list. Okay, so let's get clearer on the most salient one. Angry. And I usually take anger away just because anger is really just a title for pain or fear.
Yeah.
Okay. Or pain or fear.
Pain or fear.
Meaning what am I scared of? It's coming out anger. Or what am I hurting about coming out as anger? So we're just gonna put that over there. I'm sure you are scared and in pain for this, but let's use those words more than anger. So you already have worried, but let's just put fear down here and pain.
Yeah.
Okay, so out of these, betrayed, disappointed, which one is more accurate? Betrayed, disappointed.
Ooh, those are interesting. One feels more fired up. Betrayed feels more like ragey fired up, and disappointed perhaps feels more vulnerable.
But be honest, when you saw what was happening in the group.
Oh, in the moment? Before I processed it?
Yes.
I was feeling betrayed. Okay.
And then outraged. No, but the thing is, I was outraged when this was happening with my kids.
Yes!
That's what we're designed to like fiercely protect. So rage, outraged, and then let's put fear with that. So is it outraged, rage, or fear?
Is it outraged, raged, or fear? And I have to pick one?
Well, no, but
like we're talking about in the moment, not after I've processed.
No, it's just in the moment. What? Because some moms would be just like chatting with the other mom and not even noticing this.
Yeah.
Okay? You were honed in on this.
I was honed in and I was outraged.
Okay. Outraged. And now self-conscious, worried, pain. Self-conscious, worried, pain.
I was more, and we're taking out fear?
Because I think I put fear up there.
Yes.
With the others.
So I was more, self-conscious, worried, pain. I was more worried.
Okay. Let's go with this. Betrayed, outraged, and worried.
Yeah.
Those are the three. And again, if we were doing this in our full time, we would dive into deeper. But it's gonna work perfectly fine. So now conjure up the feeling of betrayed, outraged, and worried. Betrayed, outraged, and worried.
Betrayed, outraged, and worried. Yep, got it.
And this is not the first time you felt this way. You felt it lots before, but let's find the first time you remember learning this collection for the first time where you were feeling betrayed, outraged, and worried.
Yeah, got it.
Okay, summarize that little.
Oh gosh.
And what age were you?
Grade 4.
Okay. So what age were we then? Are we?
11? Well, we're 10. my son's in grade 4. I should know
10?
this. We're 10.
10. Okay, this is perfect. I like 10 or under.
Yeah,
10's
9 or
perfect.
10.
Okay.
Yeah. Super. So at an elementary school, very awkward age for me.
Mhm.
Very, very awkward age for me. And it was the first big memory of being completely made fun of by a group of friends in a group setting where I was the target and I was the one being made fun of
Yes.
for something I said that felt really innocent. I was saying something really innocent and I can't even remember exactly what it was. And I remember an entire group of people turning on me and laughing at me.
Okay.
Yeah.
Pivotal memory.
Yes.
Okay, put yourself back in that time frame. You're that age. You're age 10. You've just said something like really like all your friends. All of a sudden, you feel the energy change, and they're all laughing at you. And you make a conclusion about yourself in that moment.
Yeah.
And just fill in the blanks on the basis of being 10-year-old Taryn in this moment. I am
uncool.
Other people are
more confident than me.
This world is
unsafe.
Therefore, I will
be someone different.
Okay. Okay, perfect. So, for sure, the word uncool you would use in
general, Taryn. Yeah.
And we can just use a lot of other words to say that. Like, what would be some other words to talk about? Like, if I'm not very cool, what am I? One for me is unliked. I get a trigger, an unliked trigger, but I don't know if that matches. It could be.
So it's like there's a different flavor to it than unliked. It's like there's a little bit of like a not enough flavor to it.
Okay, so it could it be inadequate or is it more likely unworthy?
That's more inadequate than unworthy.
Okay, that's fine. I know that like everybody's, I don't want everyone in substitute words, but it's just, I just want it to get clear as to like why, what your conclusion of.
Yeah.
It would be totally normal for your 10-year-old self to be like, I'm not even close to being good enough to be in this group because I just did all that stuff. So I'm inadequate, therefore I need to be different.
Yes.
So now, whenever anything comes up similar to this memory, betrayed, outraged, or worried, the blueprint goes directly to, I'm inadequate, I need to be different. So in the moment you're watching Shay, you're going, this is my fault. I need to do better, figure this out, do something different. So another mom's not even noticing. Another mom is typing a letter to the school, but this is your private logic. It's triggering your inadequacy and your need to maybe do something different, and you better figure it out. Okay, so it's when we do this, it's because we want to take ownership for our emotional disturbances, because every emotional disturbance is equally disturbing to our peace of mind. We want peace. That's what we all want. We want peace, we want ease, we want to feel, calm. But as we raise kids, or as we just grow through our decades, we're going to have experiences that are going to bring up things about ourselves. So that experience seems like an experience about Shay, but it's actually about you, and it's actually conjuring up your feelings of inadequacy and needing to be different. And Michelle's is that she's not a priority, therefore she needs to like suppress her needs and like hold on to them. So the idea is we do that as much as we can. When I was doing it to get the real deep understanding, I did it on everything, every big little upset for about 6 months, and that's when I got my 3 categories.
So you whittled it all down.
Yes, I'm alone, I am adequate, I'm a failure. Okay,
wow.
So that would be the idea.
Okay,
so now we switch into the truth. Okay, so that's our private logic. They're personal. It's design. It's from experiences. It's from natural experiences in our lives. Not blaming parents. Shay is going to have a private logic come up from that incident, and it's probably going to be, I'm inadequate, therefore I need to be different, and she's going to have to go and try being different. And I mean, we can't take this away from our children. Are going to have their own private logic. It's just we want them to do what we're going to do next, which is know their true essence and know about the split away from their true essence that we're going to spend our lifetime trying to get back to. Okay. So, so let's now flip forward to the true essence part of this. So essentially it's like we have betrayed ourselves when we got so far away from our truth. So when we look at little 2-year-old Michelle who's being triggered, it felt that you were, what did we say for you? Not a priority. It felt like you were not a priority, but we can see that, of course, a 2-year-old was as much of a priority as the baby. But it started your process of not thinking that you were. And so that's why we want to suspend everything that we know now and look at the truth of who we are. So we're born with traits, and those are like we have DNA traits, we have intergenerational traits that come along with our DNA. Okay. And you know that at, I don't know how many weeks gestation, like 5 weeks or something, a heartbeat pops in. Where did it come from? Don't know. And I like to call that the essence, that's the essence that popped in from somewhere. So we're a combination of our DNA, our intergenerational experiences, and that who knows what the energy of our heartbeat is. So that's who we are. And we have some traits from our DNA, but we also have other traits. So that's why like siblings are completely different, even though like, I talk similarly to my sister, but we're different. Like we have different private logics, but we can seem the same in a lot of ways. Okay. So what we want to acquaint ourselves with is that developmentally, we needed to have others keep us alive till we're 2 and 3, and more, but that's finally a 3-year-old kind of emerges in the world. They're going to daycare and they've got their backpack and they can, need to go to the bathroom. They can go, they wash their hands and so on. And they know they matter for the first time, because if they say no, somebody's going to react and they can have a big tantrum and something will happen. And so it's really a pure representation of the true child. Okay. So because we all have children, we can remember our kids' personalities and sparkle of their 3-year-old self. And it's pretty similar to who they truly are, but they're totally different. Right. So when I think about my daughter, she just crazy hair and very powerful and passionate and strong-willed. And then when I think about my son, he was just, sort of go with the flow, quiet and calm. And so I can look at those memories and have a lot of compassion for the fact that that's their true essence, but the society didn't like a lot of both of those parts and sadly pulled them away from that truth. So when you think about yourselves at 3, what comes to mind? Just talk to me about like what either stories that were told to you about you, or just like what do you know about you at 3?
What I know about myself at 3 was I was very observant, very like wise but quiet, serious, but not like a bad serious, but just very like very serious.
Okay.
I didn't like I wasn't like a belly laughing child. I was just kind of stoic and serious and taking everything in and observing, and very compassionate.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And from way back then, your empath traits coming out. Okay.
Yes.
What about you, Michelle? What do you know?
Very sensitive. There's like a running joke my dad had. If I ever did anything that like not to be punished for, but if they had to like correct, he would have to be so careful to just be like, oh, maybe that wasn't the best thing to do. Like he would turn to look at me, and if his face wasn't like loving enough, it would just be like, oh, so upset. Yes. So very sensitive. I was very smart. I was very articulate, very smart. Like when I was shockingly young, I could just speak really well.
Okay.
Very attached to my parents. Very, very attached to my parents.
And do the stories have like do people make light of that and like tease you about being sensitive?
not my family,
Okay.
not inside my family, but like maybe extended family. I
Mhm.
have some extended family who was like, "Oh, come on, go play. Get out, get away from your mom. Just go play. Go be a kid." And I remember being like, "I just want to be by my mom and dad right now."
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. So when we're 3 and we kind of realize we matter in the world, it's like we're being dropped into a play that's already been going on for like generations. Like 12 generations brought the 2
Mm-hmm.
people that brought you here. And here you're just dropped into the world and this play's going on and you have to figure it out as you go. You don't have a script. You don't have a clue on how to be in the world. So you go through experiences like hang on to your mom and dad, then you're at the family barbecue, and then Uncle so and so is like tell basically giving you feedback
Right.
that you're
Mhm.
not
Yeah.
what he would like.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mm.
So this play that's going on, the poor little 3-year-old has to like figure out how to be in the world,
Yeah.
starts to take uh, the feedback, the judgments, the criticisms, maybe the praise and the encouragements to learn how to act, learn how to get along in the play. Okay, so that's where some people call it the split. Um, I didn't always call it the split, but because I just went to do plant medicine and they called it the split.
Mm.
I think that is a good term to use. So because of the environment, we start to all of a sudden view ourselves differently, filtered through the feedback of others. So splitting away from our true essence, our self-confident girl at 3 starts to learn about herself through others, and then we split away from our truth. Okay,
Mhm.
so then our private logic is starting, and in the emotion spectrum that you talk about between
Mhm.
love and fear. However, you learn every one of those emotions gives you a blueprint to how you're going to know it next time. That is all happening between 3 and 10, 3 and
Mhm.
12. So it's like a huge, um, it's huge development and growth of to like, who am I? And sadly, but it's what it is to be
Mhm.
human. By the time we're 10 or 12, we have a lot of judgments and criticisms about ourselves that we saw from other people that we've held on to, that they're are us and they give us our personality now. So for you, like, you in one way can celebrate your sensitive connected nature, but in other ways it's like terrifying to talk about because others have given you that reflection. But when we look at your pictures, she's perfectly fine,
Yeah.
right? And then you being serious and
Mhm.
studious and
Mhm.
all of that. Maybe the feedback that you got was, oh, stop being so serious all the time, and then it gave you that sensitivity to be like, oh, I should be more carefree, and
Mhm.
who knows how that played out. Okay,
Mhm.
so many people have anxiety symptoms, so many people have depression symptoms, and both of those categories of symptoms go together. Depression symptoms are always the feelings that are hopeless, helpless, wishes things were different, I regret that other stuff that happened. Past, that's depression symptoms are always from the past.
Okay.
Anxiety symptoms are always about the future. Oh my gosh, is it going to be okay? And what's going to happen next? And
Right.
is everybody going to be safe? I've got more of anxiety symptoms. That's always about the future. We're bringing that into our present moment. So what people coming to therapy for or coming to coaching for are problems that are everywhere but the present.
Mhm.
How can I get over this thing that happened? Well, it's gone. And or what happens about if this happens? Well, it's not here yet. You're
Mhm.
conjuring it. So people want to reconcile their symptoms, and we can't change what's happened in the past, and we can't know what's going to happen in the future. So when we reconnect back with our truth, check on our true worth and our true strengths, it can relieve the symptoms effectively and more long lasting, because you're not just band-aiding over it. You're like, okay, um, looking at that true self is your home. So it's just a calmer, safer place.
Mm.
So I mean, it can seem, we're condensing a lot into our talk here, but I really find a lot of people, if they could settle into the truth of who they are and forgive themselves for forgetting their worth, the symptoms would be going away. So let's
Mhm.
look at your pictures.
Mhm.
Okay.
Mhm.
So I asked these two to give me some pictures of themselves as close to 3 years old as
It went on my
they've
phone.
had, and just random pictures.
I think I'm 3 in this picture.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. So that, well, I think there's the date on the back, or was it?
No,
No, okay.
it's, I mean, something's on the back, but
Okay. So what I ask people to do is step out of their in knowing that this is them, and just look at the pictures of the child and describe what they see in this, and they see in this girl, like objectively. So I've already done this. I've looked at your pictures. I wrote down what I saw. And I just would like to see if you're able to step out of it being you and just describe her. So Michelle, you go first.
oh, okay.
So which picture are you going to use? Because
I'll use this one.
We'll have to link these pictures in the show notes somehow.
Yeah, okay.
but let's do the younger one.
Okay.
I just wanted to do the younger one just because I think that's just like earlier than that other.
I'm
Yeah.
more in touch.
Yes.
Um,
So this is, so just to describe the picture, it's Michelle. She's cozied
like-
right up
should I
to
do that?
cozied right up to somebody's leg.
Yeah.
I'm imagining it's her mom or dad.
It's my mom, yeah.
And she's just peering through her hand. She's holding and grasping the adult's hand and just like gently peeking out.
Yeah.
Okay, so what do you see in that girl?
She's in her safety bubble. She has, yeah, she's
safe.
She's safe. She's protected. She's like wary of the outside world.
Yeah.
Taking it all in. This is not being objective because I'm remembering, but I have a memory from like around this age, and I remember my thought process, and I've seen pictures of it later, and my thought process was like it is now. And I remember going around as a little kid thinking like, I know I'm like an adult in my head and they don't realize it. And so what I see in this picture is it looks like a baby, but I like know I'm thinking. I'm
Okay.
processing.
Yeah.
and-
So
yeah.
wisdom. Let's put wisdom.
Mm.
Okay. Anything else in that picture that you would describe of that girl?
I don't know if it's just because I'm a baby, but like I just look so innocent
Mhm.
and pure.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Okay, perfect. Okay, let's look at the other one.
Okay.
Now, describe what you're doing in that picture. That was one of the most hilarious things.
So describe your picture. Yeah.
I'm like,
She's got her hands
Totally
like,
relaxed, arms up.
yeah,
Yeah.
arms up above her head or behind her head.
I'm happy. I also, it occurs to me, and again, maybe this is not objective, maybe it's because I know I'm also in my safe bubble. Like, I bet you I just was with like just my dad or just my mom and dad. Like, I have a grocery bag. It's just like in my parent bubble.
Yes.
You know? Yeah, in my safety bubble, happy again, innocent and pure.
Yes. Yes.
What else? Yeah.
Okay. So when the descriptions that you use, safe, protected, wary, pure, innocent, wise, that you can connect to those
Yeah.
traits
Yeah.
of your truth. Okay. So when I looked at the one with you and your mom, I saw like uncertain,
Uh-huh.
shy,
Yeah.
protected / protection,
Yeah.
cautious, shielded,
Yeah.
close, cuddly, connected, precious, innocent, gentle, sensitive, gorgeous. Those, can you accept those?
Yeah. I
And
can.
does that
As you
resonate?
read it, I'm like, yeah.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
And I mean, these are some of the things that you would maybe be, told and as you grew, that like you shouldn't be so shy, you shouldn't be so, connected. But the thing is, that's just the truth.
Yeah.
And then in the one where you've got your smile on and you're just like like totally carefree, I've got relaxed, resting. So like you, when I hear
yes,
like
yes.
your desire is rest.
Yes.
Yeah, that is so true.
Like
Your
your
arms
rest.
Exactly.
Yes.
So that is so
Yeah.
you. You're calm, you're connected. Like you're connected because you're so calm, but you're doing eye contact to the camera. Gentle, happy, joyful, genuine. There's a brightness. Like you're just like, yes, like this is my life. Angelic. I have put here too, because it's just like it's like you already know it all, just like you said in the other one. So that's you, and it doesn't work in society, but like, mainstream, you're not going to go and slug it out. But that's what matches you. And that's why that's your desire is so clear, and that it's hard to find that match all the time. Okay. So that resonates.
Big time.
Okay.
And
you're allowed to be her, and you don't need to be anybody different than her.
My guard wasn't even a smidge up.
No,
there was like no,
not
because you don't need it. You're perfect as you are. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So I'm going to give you these traits so that you have them handy.
I love that.
Now, Taryn, let's get your pictures out. Taryn's were equally hilarious.
Okay. So mine is the first picture. It's, I'll like, you can't really see that screen. Okay. So
wait, is it? Yes, you and your brother.
Me and my brother. So, just to go back to this picture. So in this picture, my brother and I are 14 months apart. So we're very close in age, and I'm holding him. I'm like, he's 6 months old. So I'm 14 months older in this picture, and I'm holding him. But that story you told about the first and second child.
Yes.
Was not true for me.
Okay.
When my brother was born, he was mine. I fed him. I changed his diaper. He was.
But you were still only just a baby.
I was a baby, and he was mine. He was mine to protect and nurture and care for. Yes. He was mine.
Yes.
So this picture, to me, when I look at this picture, I see like a fierce protection. Because I'm holding him, I'm staring at the camera, like I see a fierce, like love beyond this world. I see innocence. I see purity. I see a strength. Nurturing. Did I ever say that? I think no. Nurturing. I see so much love.
Yes. 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 And so I'll just jump in.
Yeah.
Because what I saw in this, so same words, protective, strong, fierce. I've got that in here too. The fierce I put beside it was the eye contact.
Oh yeah.
But the eye contact says like step back.
Yes.
And it says step back, I got it. Like that's what I see in that. So like your truth is like very, very well communicated in this picture. And then I've got gentle, sweet, caring, in charge, serious, capable, precious, soulful. Because look at the look of your face. Look at your eyes. It's just so deep, perceptive, and confident. And to have that as two, were you just two?
Yeah.
That's that's a lot. It's different than Michelle's, but this is like you're like already working.
Yes, you're so capable.
Michelle's relaxing, like just like enjoying her like life on a cloud, and you're already at work. And it's serious work.
That's so fitting. Oh
that is very, very fitting.
Okay, but now go to the next picture.
Okay,
it matches.
Okay, so the next picture, I'm 3 or 4.
They're so cute.
I know, I was really cute. So 3 or 4.
Yes.
It's my school or JK picture, or whatever. Maybe it was daycare. I'm not quite sure. And in this picture, I see innocence. I see confidence. I see the strange duality between leadership and I can't quite put my finger on the word, but it's like this incredible softness, or this humbleness.
Okay.
That's the word.
Yes, and that's so you too.
Yeah.
Okay. So when I flipped to this picture,
Yeah. Okay. No.
going from the first
Yeah.
picture of just like, I've got
Serious.
this
Yes.
child. Then this one was like, the first word that came out was like in charge, and I've got the CEO of a company look. Like you're facing, like you're.
This is my headshot.
That is your
This is my LinkedIn headshot. Yeah.
Seriously, it's like, I got this. I'm 4, but I'm already the CEO.
Yeah.
And I've just got
Yeah.
direct, certain, present, confident. You had that. Capable, sparkle, content, happy, knowing, important. There's work to do.
Mm-hmm.
Energetic, strong, and beautiful with star quality. Like I just see, like it's just
Oh, yeah.
you're leaning forward.
Mm.
This is your headshot. Like it really truly is.
Oh.
So when you hear all this stuff, even though it's it's not relaxing like Michelle's,
Yes.
how does it hit you?
It is deeply true.
And so when you're in your play going through your world and people are telling you it would be better if you were a little different, and the split starts to happen where you turn away from her, like what resonates with you about that? Like that one story, but what else? Like, did parents want you to be different?
No, I'm very lucky that I grew up with very solid parents who accurately reflected that.
Yes.
Didn't quite understand when the split happened, didn't quite understand why I had fears around that. Like,
Yes.
but very accurately reflected that. But it was more like school and peers that
Yes.
where but insecurity. It was like complete insecurity or not like stories of not enoughness, that this wasn't real, or I couldn't trust that. Yeah, it was that that wasn't enough, or I couldn't trust that, or it wasn't enough for this world.
Any memory of when you specifically tried to, and you think of this too, Michelle, when you specifically tried to like change and go away from the true essence traits?
Yeah. Yes. Yes. Many memories. So like I like peer pressure in elementary school. Like I remember that feeling, and I remember I was easily sucked into to peer pressure, and and I started to like do things to try and fit into certain like particular groups. But yes, I have memories of changing, believing that I had to be different to fit into this group, or had to be different here. I couldn't be that.
And probably, like, now that I'm thinking about you and your experiences too, it's like that's what leads you into the mainstream job that you ended up doing,
totally.
and school.
Completely.
Well,
You're absolutely correct. Going from high school to university, I always knew university wasn't for me, but I did it anyway because that's what you do, and then you get the job, and I was following that path, but not following what I really, really, truly wanted to do, because I didn't trust that it was enough. I really didn't trust that it was enough. And it's interesting as we talk about this, is that there's still that story there. Like, even though I have left a corporate job, I have grown a successful business. I'm a successful entrepreneur now. When I think about anytime I'm about to take a leap forward or make a new choice in my business, or there's still that story that but am I really enough?
And that's why this direct truth that we talked about today with these direct traits has to be recommitted to every day. So what I ask people to do is take those traits, put it into a paragraph, use it as a journal, morning journal. I am those things. And what we want to is let go of things that don't match up with her, and make sure that we're doing things that match up with her, because the doubts is your private logic popping up, because it was well practiced. It was a neural pathway road well traveled, and we got to do new pathways to truth only. And I know like you also use your little TT as
Yeah.
your, when she's
Yeah.
driving the bus.
Yeah.
And you want to like care about how she feels. But the thing is, we actually just want her to like, we want her to know that her ideas are the most important ideas. And if she's out in the bush driving the bus recklessly, then yeah, something is wrong. I mean, it matches so much, but it takes a lot of commitment to go back to the truth and live your truth and combat the private logic that's not true.
Yeah.
And what about you, Michelle? Do you have a time where you split away and you started to feel embarrassed about your true
JK.
essence? Okay.
It's like so clear. Leaving my family to go to school, it was like such a rude awakening and such a thing. I had to brace and contort and twist, and like there's a sensation that like characterizes my whole childhood that I don't feel anymore, but it characterizes my entire childhood. That's the feeling of wanting to cry, but trying to smile so hard to stop it.
Wow. Yeah.
I did that probably every school day, the vast majority of school days until I was in like junior high. It even happened in junior high. But like something made me want to cry. And my thing was,
Yeah.
And then I was like, oh, it's not working. I know they can tell I need to cry, but yeah.
Because what happened if you cried?
It was just not done. Kids aren't just like, no, not that many kids are, sure, kids at school cried, but not in the way that they didn't have the safety to cry in.
What was the message, do you think, that told you to suffer and suck it and suppress?
Oh, like that would be too sensitive. Like you can't be that sensitive.
Yes. And so to be told that your true essence is wrong because of the environment that you were in is like extremely painful.
Yeah.
So how have you been able to let yourself cry as an adult?
Yeah, like how have I?
How have you reconciled the times you didn't honor her needs and her emotions that
Oh,
needed to be released? Like crying is processing.
yeah,
It's perfect.
yeah,
It's like crying's great. Crying's perfect.
yeah,
It's not convenient when your kid's crying and you wanted to just get through the
yeah.
the task. So like when you learn this stuff, you really feel like you messed up your kids. So
I know.
Thinking about all the things,
private logic, learned and taking them away from their true essence, but don't worry about that.
Yeah.
But your poor little self was harmed by not letting her, and all of our true self, we were, but it's time to now, like, are you okay with your emotional?
Crying is like my favorite thing now.
Okay.
I love crying.
Yes. Okay.
Oh, and I think I'm sure I made some like inroads toward being comfortable with crying like in my adult life. And some people would think maybe I was always fine with crying, but like not to the degree that I needed to. I think practitioner was a turning point for me. I think practitioner training, I had this little bubble of time. I had this weird blank slate in life. I had all this time and space and just let myself fall and be held by practitioner training and just open those floodgates back up of emotions.
So do you feel connected to her? So I want you to look at the pictures. Look at your pictures of yourselves. And I want to know, like, can you connect more authentically with her? And are you committed to putting her first?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Good. No hesitation.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I'm devoted to that more than anything in the entire world.
Yes.
Because if not, then what else is the point?
Yes.
Right?
Yes, exactly.
Yes.
Yeah. And that what you just said, you embody that so well. Like you, that you are your first, like this is your first priority.
Yes.
It's like, it's exceptional, really. Like that commitment is exceptional.
Yeah. It's like recent though, that devotion, that commitment. Yeah.
And what about you, Taryn? When you can you put her first?
Yes.
And can you be entirely the truth of who she is without judgment from others, or without waiver from the feedback, criticism, and maybe judgment of others.
Yeah. And it's mostly at this point in my life, it's mostly like the judgment in here
Yes.
that gets,
Yeah. And that's just the practice. Limiting beliefs is the practice.
Yeah.
It's the private logic. So now that you can see the private logic didn't actually mean anything about you, it meant it was normal development stages of young people bullying. It was more convenient if you went out to play so the parents could hang out. Like, it really wasn't about us, but because we made it about us, being egocentric, we held on to it. But now we're grown, and we can look back and see the truth.
Yeah.
And have inner harmony and peace by connecting with her first and seeing what she needs. And then helping our kids to know that too. I mean, it's going to happen. That's what's going to happen. But to remind kids that the criticism and judgment of others really is about them and not is about the person criticizing, not about anything true about who they are. So that's why this is like an important message and an ongoing commitment. And so when I do a workshop about True Essence, because I do workshops where it's like a day workshop, and women come, and men too, come together, they bring their pictures and we work through it. What we did this year is I had everybody hold their picture up, and then I played Simply the Best by Tina Turner. And I made them sing that song to themselves. So I want you guys to do that another time.
Oh, I love that.
I was gonna be like, no.
No, but like, it's timely because of Tina's life, and also like her story. And when you sing that song to yourself, it is a lot of power. And I just want that to like basically, consolidate that your relationship with yourself is, you're the best, and you matter more than anyone else. So
I love this. So okay, so I have a couple questions. One is around, like, so I think about my kids are young. My kids are 8 and 10 right now. And your kids are similar age, although Charlotte's older. But how do you as a parent reflect your child? Like, how do you recommend reflecting the proper elements of True Essence without me taking my lens
filter,
and filtering it onto them? Like, how do you recommend doing that?
So I took an Adlerian parenting seminar, which after the seminar I said to the person teaching, I said, I learned more from you today than I knew in parenting my kids for the last 21 years. And she was just like, so I took detailed notes. And it's extremely important that our parents are relentlessly determined to find their child's superpower. Even if it isn't a societal acceptable norm, right? So you might have to search, because it could be a child that is, bouncing off walls and can't sit still, and we can say that our society is not conducive to children's behaviors that are absolutely normal, but we have to be determined to find what their superpowers are and make sure they know it. So sometimes a child's superpower is going to be you make us laugh, or you bring up the energy in the room. It's like another way of saying, like, stop being so silly, or quiet down. It's like, wow, you really know how to brighten up the room, or captivate the energy, right? So my daughter, I always like use her as an example, but like I used to always say that she sucked the oxygen out of the room. Well, it's like a pretty negative thing to say, but it felt that way. And so the reframe is powerful, passionate energy that she's not going to go unnoticed. And that's just the truth of who she is. Now, very hard to parent, very, very impactful as who she is today as, an adult.
And who she will be.
So I recommend you do this practice with your kids. So in the handout that I gave you, it's questions like, what did you look like? What did you like to play with? What grabbed your attention? What lit up your face? What did you sing? Help them know this stuff, because they're closer to 3 than we are. Help them reconnect with them and keep that as an important, like, are you making sure you're doing something that lights up your face? Are you doing something, are you doing something today that is your favorite? When I look at pictures of myself, I'm always outside, or I've got holding onto a cat, or dirty face and stuff like that too. And so it's like, I am a serious person too. And I mean, the feedback I got as a child was, oh, Morgan, you were really emotional. And we always, really just wished you'd relax and not, sort of mope around. Well, it's also, that's a child looking for emotional connection too. So for me, I know I look at my true essence traits: sensitive, caring, helpful, serious, wanting to be outside, wanting to, pet the cat, that kind of stuff. That's what I do in my times of need. So go outside, connect with animals, call a friend. Those are the things I did, and those are the things I do. And so your kids get their list going of their true essence traits and what really was accurate for them, and encourage them to keep doing that no matter what.
I love that.
Yeah. It's all of these traits, and these concepts are very, very applicable to parents.
Yeah.
And I really admire Allison Schaefer. She's an Adlerian parenting expert, and she has an Adlerian podcast all about questions and answers for kids. And it's so child centered. You respect the child from day one. You respect their choices from day one. And so the kids are going to go through hard times. It's not for you to smooth over, that, but it is for you to point them back to their worth, their true sparkle, because it's not gone.
Yeah.
Even those poor kids that are struggling so much, they're so disconnected from their true sparkle. It's sad. It's so sad. Yeah. And it's hard to get them back to believing in this. A lot of people are like, can we skip over this? It's like, no, we can't skip over it. And when I see a lot of people's pictures, and I just see so, like, that's the only place to look for your true, genuine, authentic self, because we'll mask and hide and cover up all the things, but the pictures don't lie, like literally,
Yeah. So what about children? So before those formative years, but specifically even in those early years from 0 to 3, what if they were very much impacted by by trauma, or not reflected from their parents? How does that impact?
Yeah. Well, I mean, the survival mechanism is going to be kicked in. So this child's going to be having adrenaline and cortisol, completely, like, arrest their nervous system is going to be arrested like this. So they will inadvertently view the world from a fear standpoint. Unfortunately, it doesn't mean we still can't see the true essence traits, because they're still going to be there, but it's just going to be, it would be harder for them to really truly accept and believe. That's where, like, it would be required of a lot of faith, like, because a lot of my clients do have that, where they're just, there was a lot of neglect there, like they were fed and put to bed, but there was still not a lot of neglect. It's harder for them. It is. So it might take more time. It doesn't mean it's not true, right?
It's there. It's just harder to find.
Yes. And it's harder to believe.
Right.
That's why it goes so much in we need to settle the nervous system every day, forever, relentlessly. And we need to set boundaries every day, relentlessly. We need to, like, clear up our triggers of what's happening, and we need to win her back every day, relentlessly. So it's really foreign. It can be really foreign for people, but I mean, that's what keeps people in the loops of symptoms.
Right.
They end up reaching for something to simmer them down, like there's the coping methods become maladaptive, and they're not living their truth. Like, you two live in a job where you get to see people in their truth, right? And like doing their things, but sadly it's like not many people.
No,
they're not willing to look and check. And I mean, your both of your jobs are matched up to your true essences, but so many people are not, and that is painful. and it seems impossible.
Mm.
So yeah, it's a journey. It's like a long journey, and it's deep, and it seems like,
And it's really never ending.
yeah,
Yeah.
it isn't.
No?
It isn't.
You said the phrase win her back relentlessly.
Yeah, I know. I love that.
I love that. Every day. You said win her
Mhm.
back relentlessly every day. What? I don't know, like I know it can look like a lot of things, but what does that look like? Like every day. How do I, because although I was like, yes, I'm devoted, I mean, that's not to say I still don't have so many places where I need so many reminders or to like find what it actually, there's still so much to relentlessly win her back. Like, what does that look like every day?
So the deep description of your true essence traits in the paragraph form, I find, is the most effective. So sometimes I'm like writing them out for people because I've got the traits listed, and it's unlikely they're going to be able to say that. And sometimes people are literally not able to even say the paragraph, but we work towards them being able to say the paragraph. I am sensitive, caring, loving, strong, capable, confident, all of that. Speak it out. I keep a picture of my little self on my phone as my screen, because the idea is I want to be reminded that that's the true me. And the picture I've got is like a shirt's too small and my hair's all a mess, but I'm just like confidently 3-year-old Morgan, just like a complete mess. And that reminds me to check in with her. What does she want to do today? And I want to always be checking in with her. So it's like if that little girl came walking into this room right now, we would stop everything and be like, sweetie, what do you need? Oh my goodness, look at how, she's so precious. Like we would brighten up. We would take notice, and we would care deeply about, does she need a drink? Does she need to, do we want to set her up with the dog? All of that stuff. That's how we need to check in on ourselves. There's lots of things that we need, and we're just denying them. So it's the paragraph, it's the pictures, and it's the doing the things that she wanted to do back in the day. So have you been seeing all the videos online, memes and so on, that are this is the one is about, this is my wife healing her inner child, and it's a man took a video of his wife jumping in the pool and doing handstands in the pool and like running and twirling in the air, like just like a woman like me, just
that's amazing,
playing in the pool. And he had taken that video and said, this is my wife healing her inner child. That stuff.
Yeah.
So when I'm doing my win myself back on the weekends, like I go to the cabin in the woods and sit on the porch, and I just ask myself what I want to do. Sometimes it's I want to go for a walk to the water. Sometimes I want to go in the forest because something's in there. Or sometimes it's I want to lie down and have a nap or whatever. But we literally just have to give her opportunities to have fun and to, be herself. I used to do horseback riding as a child and a teen, and it was like my passion. And so this summer I was like, okay, well, do I want to do that? Anyway, I went riding, and I was like, no, I don't want to do that anymore. So it's like a good way to start is reconnect with the things you did like as a child.
Yeah.
And see how that goes. But having her present in pictures and in paragraph form is what I would recommend. And it's not going to end. When I was really going through it with recovering from PTSD, I don't even know, you probably saw it. I used to wear it all the time. It was a locket with my little me inside there. So I would often just take
that's a wonderful idea.
Yes, that's why I would often just be like, hey, what does she need? What does she need?
I love that.
Yeah.
Yes, it's not to say I've got it all figured out, right? Like I'm betraying my little self every day, but I know that I know when I'm doing it, and I plan winning her back.
Oh, I like this.
I like it too.
Good.
Can I tell you one of the little things that connected for me?
Yes.
So, like, not in this exact language or this exact perspective, but I thought about some of these things before, right? Like it's been my intention to try to connect to, myself. And one thing that just came to me as like a message that just clicked is I have to trust what she needs to feel safe. Like this little girl needed the safest, most loving, like my parents were so wonderful, and that's how she feels safe. So now I'm just really trusting every time I don't feel safe, I don't have to overcome it. It's like, trust what she needs to feel safe, like that really
And
protected.
to look at her and say, I got you now.
Mm.
I'm grown up now, so I've got you now.
Yeah.
I know you better than anyone, so I will look after you.
Yeah.
So we do that for ourselves. And a lot of people, I think the gesture is to pull. A client of mine would say, now I know to pull my little child close when someone might be asking me to overextend myself, and be like, no, we're not available right now, because it's just like she's needs to feel safe
Yeah.
and heard and protected, and we do that for them now. And that's the thing, like that picture, looking at her in that picture,
Yeah.
those are those eyes are your eyes.
Yeah.
And the heart in there is the heart in there. So
Yeah.
it's us.
Yeah.
And this is like the purest form of us.
The untouched,
Yeah.
Yes. Before it all.
Yeah.
Before you had to.
Before it all layered on. And,
Yeah. Before you couldn't.
Yeah.
Before you stifled crying every day.
Yeah.
Like your poor throat and heart suffering.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
It was rough. It was rough. Yeah, it was rough.
yes. And we like imagine being able to prevent that for kids. I mean, we can't prevent it, but we can certainly start to act in ways that we accept others exactly as they are.
Yeah. Was there anything for you, like any little something that clicked about yourself?
Yeah. Well, I think a powerful piece of this discovery, Morgan, was your reflective words, was like your reflection of, so I think that's like, that feels like an important piece. Like there was only so many elements that
you
I could,
find.
but the second you started to reflect some of those words back to me, it was like, oh, that's very true. Like they felt very true, and not words I would have necessarily pulled out myself.
Yeah.
And I think what's clicking for me is, so some of the words that you used are, I'm like integrating some of the more powerful words you used to reflect me are not necessarily words I would have used. And I'm like being reminded of, what's the word? Did you say rediscover your true essence?
Yeah, true essence, rediscovery.
Rediscovery.
Yes.
That's what it feels like. A bit of like a wow. Oh, that's actually these aspects of me that I know to be true now. It's not because I'm an entrepreneur now. It's actually because like, that was actually me.
Yeah.
Like, this has been me all along.
Yes.
And this is like, these are aspects of my truest self.
Yes, because it's not just true essence discovery, it's rediscovery because you forgot and got pulled away from. Yeah, and that's why that's why doing this work with somebody is better.
Yeah.
Right? Because, I didn't know that I was a relentless in the face of doors closing in front of me until that was reflected by another person, seeing that pattern.
Yeah.
And seeing that I actually was, I never gave up, and I don't give up. Like it's annoying. I will never stop. So, but anyway, now I know that as a strength versus anything else. So I'm going to give you to your words because it's as clear as a bell to me. And also, like, I know you, and I know you from the, you being in the media that I listen to, and it just like the fact that it matched up so well.
Oh yeah.
And I want that to give you permission to just be you.
Yeah.
And it's just light and nice.
Yeah.
Simple, isn't it? Really? Like when you break it down, I mean, we're so complicated because our minds are so complicated, but it's simple, isn't it?
Yes. Me writing down those adjectives was just 10 minutes of looking at those pictures and just writing what I saw.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't remember the exact quote, and I don't remember who it's by, but it's coming to mind is that being yourself is both the most natural and hardest thing in the entire world.
Yeah, I don't know the quote, but it is, because we're split away from our truth, and we're listening to all the things that other people reflected back, and that's not the truth, and ping-ponging back and forth until we make a dedication to showing up as her.
I remember reading once. Now I cannot remember where it was, but I remember reading once that by the time we are 5 years old, maybe it's earlier, we have experienced every human emotion there is to experience, and then after that, it's just we're just recycling emotions. Like we felt betrayed, we felt angry, we felt whatever it might be, whatever the emotion, even the beautiful emotions, and I don't know, that's just like that's I'm being reminded of that right now. And I think that this work to narrow in on your three core
Yes.
private logics
Yeah.
is a like that is gold.
Yeah.
Like to be able to put your finger on.
Yes. And know yourself so well to know that, of course, this is why I'm triggered today.
Yeah.
And I'm going to go and sort it out.
Yeah.
Because I know it's not true. It's just one of my things.
Yeah.
And that yours are different and yours are different. It's really, really amazing to know what those are.
Yeah.
And no, they're not true because of the true essence stuff, but you're just more equipped. You're more equipped.
And you're more aware.
Yeah.
It brings it to the forefront. Like I can look at this, I can understand this, I can put my finger on this, I can reach for my tools when I know I'm triggered or activated because of these. Yeah.
And like for you two, Michelle's being, I'm not a priority, therefore I will suppress. And yours being, I am inadequate, therefore I need to be different. You'll see this showing up and you'll just be more soft about it. You'll know for sure it's not true, but you'll be like, oh, there it is again.
Yeah.
And the first part of private logic is I use a framework. And the first step of the framework is to just say, I'm upset. And the second part is that this is about me. And then the third part is what, even though this is about me, even though I'm trained to think it's somebody else,
right?
I must believe that it's about me. Okay, fine. It's about me. And then the third is get clear on the emotion. And then the fourth is, where did that come from? So it's like, I say to clients, my job to help you is to help you take ownership for you. And ownership on how you are going to know about what you're struggling with, know about what you're triggered with, sort it out for yourself and let it go and then celebrate the truth. Yeah. So it's really, at first clients can be like, well, I wanted to talk all about like the other person.
I think that's what I love about when I first read The Courage to be Disliked and learned about Adlerian. Am I pronouncing it right? Psychology. I loved it. I so deeply resonated with it. Because it requires such a level of personal responsibility. Yes. And that's such a powerful position to be in.
Yes, because it's a good thing.
It's a brilliant
thing. I can take responsibility for it all. That's more practical.
That's more powerful.
Yes.
Yeah. Ooh. Okay, so Morgan, so people listening to this, if they are intrigued to learn more, how do you work with people? If you can just share a little bit about your work and what you're up to, just in case people are interested and want to reach out.
Okay. So I have two businesses because I'm, as a therapist, well, first of all, I'm oftentimes full, so I can't see, lots and lots of clients. I'm most of the time full, but I can. So people that are really wanting therapy and want to do the deepest dive and sort of long term. Yeah. That's my counseling practice. So it's Morgan Crew Counseling. So you'll find it that way, Morgan Crew Counseling. But in seeing in my practice what was, people were hurting with and what could be helpful, I put together this program called Prevail, Prove Your Power. And so it's a mental health education course. And clients that take it, they stay in it for 6 months, but they go through the 8 concepts that are the most highly effective: the grounding, the boundaries, the private logic, the true essence. Then we get into values and self-alignment, and we even do some universal laws stuff. So that's a separate business called Prevail. And the reason why it has to be separate is because the coaching aspect of teaching, I'm going to be telling people what is going to be helpful in a more forceful, passionate
Educational way.
way.
Yes.
So, so that's why this is separate.
Yeah.
Ethically as a therapist, you got to
Right.
stay like, all making sure that you're not imposing your belief. So this separate course is how I want to give people the gift of the concepts that are the most helpful. So anybody who's interested in Prevail can just connect with me at any way they find me, but it's www.morgancrew.ca. So it's just super simple.
And we'll put this all in the show notes. Yeah.
And the course, I do sometimes do the course in a group therapy setting. I just modify it a little bit. So again, if people are really certain that they want to do it in the therapeutic realm, no problem. But ideally, it's in this public sharing way because it's lots of fun and really pushing people to get into the things that help the most and basically transform their a lot of I say clients end up seeing obstacles as opportunities once they take the course, and so it's kind of like your fast track to figure that out. So those are the ways. Yeah.
Awesome.
Thank you for this.
Yeah,
You're welcome.
this is wonderful.
It's so fun to talk about. I love it.
Awesome. Thank you so much for spending this time with us. For more information, you can visit our website at www.themindrebel.com or visit us on Instagram or Facebook with the handles at _mind_rebel_academy. And these links can all be found in the show notes below. If you like this episode, we would be so grateful if you shared it with your fellow bold dreamers. Until next time.